Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another thing where I talk about things. Today, I would like to talk about the tournament that we had, the Brawlhalla tournament, and kind of how that went, what we learned from it, and so on and so forth. It was a good time. A huge thanks to everybody who came out. Congratulations to our top three. I wound up in the fourth place. We were originally going to have the top four were going to win a prize. But then because I got in fourth place, I raffled off the last prize. But our top three winners, Sora, Hunter, and Wolfie, yes. Sora, Hunter, and Wolfie, congratulations to those guys. And thanks to everybody who turned out. We got about like 120 applications. We had 80 people show up. I am aware that some people kind of dropped out as the tournament went on. It took about 3 or 4 hours for it to get to completion, so a bit long, but with that many people, that made some sense. We had a bit of technical trouble at the beginning. It took like 15 minutes for us to get started. We were using Discord, and our whole setup for that thing was, we had some preparation, and we did a mock tournament the night before. Like, we sat down, we all got into Discord, and we said like, okay, we're gonna do things this way, and this is how it's gonna work. And we were using text channels is what we were doing. So we would pull people and we would put them in these, like our fighter domes or whatever, and then like we would give them the room numbers in the fighter dome. But we ran into a bit of a problem there in that the fighter domes, you can't hear any voices. In the text rooms, you don't hear voices. Like, we had everybody sitting in just sort of like, this is your bracket, and the idea was that, the winners would sit in the winners chat room, and they would be able to like talk to each other and banter as we went on, and then we would pull them into the text rooms and give them the room number. But what happened is, even with like 20 people, which is how many we had for the mock tournament, the text rooms were not really, they didn't grab people's attention, so people would get pulled into the text rooms and then not realize it. And so we'd be sitting around and be like, hey man, like you're in the fighter thing, you gotta get in there. So what we wound up doing instead was still something like that, but we worked more with the chat rooms. Last night, what was weird though, or excuse me, the mock tournament night was weird because Norman was helping to organize things, and when he would type stuff, I couldn't see it. And I don't know why that was. Like, just for some reason, I selectively couldn't see the things that he was typing. But I could hear him talking. And then on the day of the tournament, for some reason, I couldn't hear him talking or see anything that he was texting. And it wasn't just him either. It was actually a bunch of people I could not see or hear. Or I could see them. I don't know if I could see them typing because there's no way to indicate that. But they were talking, and I was just talking over them because I couldn't hear them talking. So, yeah, little bit weird, some kind of technical issue with Discord, but that came up on us because we did the mock tournament and then got some stuff. We got some kinks worked out, and then we made some changes. And then when we did the tournament formally, we found new problems as a result of the changes, and that kind of threw us. So afterward, we talked about that, and we said, if we do that again, probably we're gonna have to do more than just the one mock tournament, things smoothed out as it went along. Once we got rolling, things worked out. So the only way that we could really combat that is just to practice more and maybe do a couple more drills, small like mock tournaments, just to make sure that we've got all the technical stuff taken care of and everybody knows the flow and what they're doing. So unfortunately we wound up grounded for the first 15 minutes of the tournament, but after that we started moving. We were originally going to go with only 4-person teams because they're easier to follow, and it's much more convenient for everybody. It's harder on people's computers and their internet when you have like a great big 8-person game. When you drop out, you start teleporting around a little bit, and occasionally you teleport off the stage because the game is like, oh, I'm trying to predict where you are. Oh, you're off the stage. This is where you belong now. So, that happened to me at one point. Like, my internet went out, my connection to the server dropped, and this was like the 1v1 towards the finals, and I got to the end and I was like, oh, okay, oh no, my internet is gone. And so I just dropped off the stage at one point because the game was like trying to predict where I was, and then it was like, oh, you're over here. You're underneath the stage actually. And then I was like, oh, well, that's okay. I don't have any more job. Goodbye, I'm dead. So yeah. The lag thing was a bit of an issue. We found that we had a bunch of people come in from Europe, and originally we were going to be using the US East servers, which still would have been a bit challenging for our European contenders. But then the US East servers were having some issues, so we moved over to the US West servers, which made it even worse. We had even more lag trouble, which is unfortunate. There's not a lot that we could have done about that, but it's a thing that, you know, we became aware of as we went into it, and we tried to make people fight in like 8-person groups. One of our friends, Iffy, is all the way from Finland, and he tried to participate, and he was saying like, oh yeah, no, the lag was terrible. He got knocked out right off the bat. And then kind of he sort of bowed out of the thing because he couldn't keep going when everybody was teleporting all over the screen like that. We also had some people leave from the winners bracket. Like I say, maybe because it was just going on for too long, or I'm not entirely sure. Could have been connection issues or what have you. But I believe that was early on. Once we started to get towards the end, and we were sorting out like these are the winners, these are the the happy, wacky, fun time brackets. People stuck it out. One thing that we observed that was kind of funny, and we have some theories on this, is that the losers bracket, which had substantially more people in it because it was a double elimination thing, was a lot more lively. And my theory is that once you lose once, and once you get down there into the wacky fun time bracket, you no longer have that stress of like, all right, I'm competing to stay in the top. Like, you don't have that anxiety anymore. You're not like dreading your next opponent, because everybody down here has already been beaten once, so you know that they're on that, like, they're on a lower rung potentially. The really good guys won't get down into that bracket until later on towards the end. So for the time being, you're just there. You're just like, yeah, we're gonna play football. We're gonna play snowball, stuff like that. So everybody was more chill, more relaxed, having a good time in the wacky fun time bracket, and that is a good deal. That's a good deal. We had one guy, and this is actually the guy who we thought was gonna win, going by the name of Levia, and he was there in the mock tournament the night prior. And Levia just decimated us. Like, he got to the top and mopped the floor with us. But he was saying that he was going to enter the losers bracket and then fight his way up from the losers bracket, which he thought was going to be a very clever and insidious plan, because everybody who was not as good performance-wise was going to be down there, and so he was going to go down there as a ringer and just cut a bloody swath to the top, and then take someone out from behind. And so we made a Casey at the bat joke. It was like, oh yeah, Casey at the bat. Like, you let the first 2 strikes swing by you. If you're gonna hit this third one, it's gonna be a home run. And then sure enough, he got knocked out towards the end. He got a ways in there, but that was pretty amusing, because we started calling him Casey along through the tournament, and then it finally got knocked out. So we read the Casey at the bat poem, the last part of that. I don't know if he actually purposefully threw a game. I was told that he also had some connection issues, and that caused him to lose, because he was having some lag problems. But yeah. Regardless of the fact, though, he was one of our ringers. He was one of the guys that was projected to get to the very top, and unfortunately did not make it. At the end, the winner was Hunter, playing as Hattori, who we joked is a sad clown. She's a ninja who runs around in like face paint. So I like to pretend that she's a clown, because she looks very angry all the time. And I like, the more I thought about it, the more I would have loved it if that character had an alternate skin where she's like smiling, where she like looks happy, because then it would have been really funny to be like, oh, I made it to the top and she's so happy, and then you would have to root for her, because like she's so frowny and so unhappy and taking it so seriously, and then finally she gets to the top and she's just so excited, like, oh, I made it, I finally made it. Like, you can't take that away from her now. You just gotta win. You gotta root for her. Like, look at that. Don't take that. Don't wipe that smile off her face. That's terrible. It's terrible. But no, always frowny all the time. Saddest clown in the world. Saddest, angriest clown in the world. Hattori, the character. But yeah. We had a good time. We had a couple of people who like I said, some of the Europeans mentioned that the lag was an issue. Somebody said that they were impersonated, which was a little bit weird. And going back to look at the replay, I'm not sure how exactly it happened, because I went into the game and there were 2 people named 4 Piano Orchestra. Like, I logged in and there was somebody sitting there who was named 4 Piano Orchestra, and then there was someone else in there also named 4 Piano Orchestra who came in after me. And what wound up happening is we kicked the person who came in later, we thought that, because one thing that you can do in that game is you can activate a slot with a controller and a slot with a keyboard, and that's so that you can have a friend sitting next to you who is also gonna who will also play the game. And so we assumed that maybe he hit a button on his keyboard, he made a mistake, and it was the same player twice. And so we kicked the fourth person to show up, this last person who was for piano orchestra, and then I got a message on the channel where that guy was like, yeah, that first guy who got in there wasn't really for piano orchestra, that was somebody impersonating me. I was the second one to show up, and I got kicked. So I lost my slot and then got bumped down to the losers bracket. So a little weird. I don't know how that happened or who the impersonator was or what the deal was, because somebody would have had to change their Steam name and then get the game room number somehow, because the person that got in the game was the person that was in there before me, which means that they would have had to get in there before hearing the room number on the stream, because there's like a minute of lag in the stream. So just a very weird circumstance. Like how did this person get impersonated? How did the impersonator get in before the actual person? Like I don't know. But yeah, that little bit of weirdness. We also had a bit of an issue where I got bumped up, like I got seated. I'm not sure what happened there, but it looked like there were a couple of games that went on, and then somehow I got passed over. And so instead of participating in a game, they just moved me up to the winner bracket. And then I was like, oh, hey guys, I didn't play a game. And they're like, no, yeah, you did, you won. And I was like, no, I second game, I didn't get a game. And but they just left me in there. So yeah, some errors, some glitches. If we do it again, we would do it with more experience, of course, and things would go over well. That said, the whole one of the purposes behind this, I mean, it's a fun game, and we enjoyed it, and which is why we decided that we were going to have that tournament in the first place. But the other thing that we're doing is we're thinking about setting up a Kickstarter to get funding for Banana Republic, because Banana Republic, we're actually going to be changing the name because Banana Republic is an SEO nightmare. We've been bouncing off a couple of different ideas. What is it? Bananas and taxes, ape arrangement. Gosh, there's a couple of things that we've tried to do. We haven't come up with a good name for it yet. But we're going to change the name, and we're getting started now on our concept stuff and everything like that. We're going to put together a Kickstarter, and one thing we need to do is figure out how exactly we're going to be reaching out to people who we're going to talk to and see if we can get them to help promote us. We need to look into like podcasts and things like that to see if we can pull in more people. And we're using this to kind of like learn and get more experience with reaching out to people and interacting on a larger scale and stuff like that. Like, you know, we sent out a bunch of emails, we reached out to a bunch of people, we advertised a little bit. Seeing kind of exactly how we're going to have to do the advertising. One thing that I can take away from this for sure is that we're going to have to do probably a lot of advertising for the Kickstarter as it gets closer and closer to the end. Because what was funny is we got about half of our applicants leading up to the tournament, and then like we posted a video about a week before, and we got, you know, more applicants, and the videos of course pulled in the most number of people. But what was funny that happened is on the last day we were like, all right, last call, like last day, tomorrow's the tournament. We had about 50 applicants, and then like within that day we got 50 more applicants. So tons of people came in at the last minute, like. And I think that that's just normal human psychology, because I read about that, like when they were talking about the healthcare exchanges with Obamacare. They were like, like we haven't had very many enrollees yet, but I mean, like today's the last day, so we're gonna see what happens. And then like afterward, they're like, our numbers like went up by millions, you know, like the last day, everybody signed up. So this is just a thing, this is just normal human psychology. You procrastinate, and then finally, if you get that reminder, like last day. So when we do our Kickstarter, we're probably going to have to do that, where we're going to be like, you know, Kickstarter, come do our Kickstarter. And then as we get to the end, we'll be like, it's the last day, like it's coming up, it's going to be here, it's going to be over. And then, you know, people will remember, and they'll go in and they'll donate. But yeah, we'll take some of this organization stuff that we did and some of the promotional stuff, and we'll take that and we're going to apply it to a Kickstarter. That said, though, not just for Kickstarter, we'll probably do more of these tournament things in the future. If we get more support and stuff like that, like if we are getting enough support that we can afford reasonable prizes for these sorts of things, and like if you guys really like that, you know, like do go support us on Patreon. Like I would really appreciate it. But that kind of support, like that sort of thing, is what makes this stuff possible. So if that turned out to be popular, if that was a lot of fun, if you enjoyed that, you know, the best way to see it happen again is to support us on Patreon. So we have, you know, the funding to, you know, get some prizes and have people helping us out and things like that. I don't know what other games we would want to do that with, though. If you guys have any ideas for, like, free-to-play games, somebody recommended TF2. Brawlhalla was ideal because it's a very simple game. It's very quick to download, you know, easy to play, easy to learn. Everybody can kind of get in and have a certain amount of competitive chance. TF2, since it's team-based, it's a little bit harder because, like, even the most top-skilled players, if they get mixed with a poor team, they're in trouble. So it's a little bit less accessible, like everybody knows TF2. But for us to organize that, we would also have to organize the teams efficiently and set up like a particular server and whatnot. So that's a little bit harder. Could be done with some pre-planning. But yeah, definitely, if any of you guys have games that you know that are fun, simple, and would be easy to set up a tournament-style thing with, yeah, let us know. We'll think about it. We'll maybe look into it. Free, especially, though. Like, free to play. Like, that's the biggest thing, because that lets everybody get into it, and we can do our big thing and have a lot of fun. If you missed it, at the end of that tournament, we had the first couple of minutes of Rainbow Dash Presents. I showed off the new episode of Rainbow Dash Presents that we're going to be doing. That will be online this month. We're essentially done with everything. We are working on Foley and music and stuff like right now. So very soon that's going to be up. A new episode of Mass as well. We've also got another animator who's working on a short comedic thing that's coming up. We have had the animation done on Sarkatho for a while. We have not finished the backgrounds on that. It wound up on the back burner for a while we were working on Rainbow Dash Presents. We got a lot of stuff percolating. We've got a lot of stuff going on right now, and a lot of plans, big plans. We're also looking at, like I say, not just Kickstarter for Banana Republic, but also where we're going to go. You know, we might reach out and contact some other channels or networks or things like that and see what we can do. For example, Norman was talking a little bit about Mondo Media, and those are the people who did, like, Happy Tree Friends. And that may be up our alley. We'll look into that. I don't know yet. It was only suggested recently, so I'm going to look into it. I don't know if that's actually going to materialize into any substantial thoughts or directions. But, yeah. So, yeah, an overall good learning experience for us. It was a fun time. Like, I appreciate playing with everybody. The audio issues suck. Like I thought for sure that, like, what we expected to have happen is I thought there was going to be banter, and in fact they were bantering at me. Like Jay afterward, one of the guys I know who he's in the Patreon gaming group. He was telling me, he's like, yeah, like I was shouting all this banter at you, Greg. Did you hear any of it? And I was like, no. Like, I didn't hear any of it. Like, some people I could hear, other people I could not. It was weird. I don't know how you wind up selectively hearing people. Like, why was it that I could only hear very particular users and everyone else I just couldn't hear for some reason? Something weird. Discord, that was like only our... Like, we'd never really used Discord before, so I don't know. Other people were saying they'd never heard of Discord having that problem, but we were having that problem. It would have been good, though, if during the matches, like, you hear all this trash talking and stuff like that. Would have been good. Would have been better. But Viva joined us, though, and that was really great. Viva got in there, and he did essentially we did some team podcasting, and that was really great, because having someone to talk to is so much better than trying to just make stuff up on the spot by yourself. So during any amount of dead time, and when we're just sitting around, Viva and I were able to have a conversation. And if you're not familiar with Viva, like we mentioned during the tournament, he's I'm a Toon Link on YouTube. If you go and you check out his videos, he's an animator. He does comedy stuff, and yeah. So we'll probably invite Viva back to the next thing. That was really good. It was nice having Viva. Yeah. I just want to go over anything else. I don't know. It was fun. I think that one thing that Norman wanted to do was just let everybody know that if you guys who participated in that tournament, if you want to come back for something like casual on Saturday, you know, like post-stream, oftentimes we do things. I'm not exactly sure how he wanted to organize that, but yeah, he was saying that it would have been nice to just kind of invite people back for just more casual stuff, just hanging out and playing the game, because we like that game. It's very casual. It's kind of a nice way to wind down at the end of an evening, or wind up, I suppose, as it's a fighting game. But yeah, whatever the case, it was a good time. I hope that everybody had fun. Those of you who were like interacting, I couldn't hear anyone talking in the chat. I could see some interaction that looked all right. I couldn't hear what people were saying to each other, but yeah. But I hope the social interactions were solid. Apologies to those of you guys who wanted to shout at me and berate me from Discord and I couldn't hear you. When we do it again, I don't know. We'll figure that out, and then I'll be able to trash talk you back or whatever during those things. Would have been good. Would have been good to hear you guys trash talking me during the games. But yeah. Yeah, I suppose that's it. The tournament is online if you guys want to see it. Like I say, the first 15 minutes you can probably skip over because nothing happens. It's mostly just us dealing with technical issues, but after that first 15 minutes, things start to get rolling. But I suppose that'll be it for today. So thanks for joining me, everybody. I will catch you all next time.